Welcome to another edition of Tuesdays with the Disability Policy for All. Today I'm very excited to be interviewing Senator Hassan from New Hampshire. She is the mom to a person with a disability. So welcome, Senator.
Thanks for having me.
The first question is, how did you get involved with disability rights?
Well, as you mentioned, I'm the mother of a young man who experiences disabilities, so it's really been a lifelong passion of mine. But it's also caused me to reflect on the fact that our country was based on the notion of inclusion, the idea that everybody matters, and if everybody has access and opportunity, that we all get stronger together. So my son's personal experience, his arrival into our family, really helped me focus on the importance of disability rights in terms of what it means to our whole country.
Thank you. And I think you're right. The next question is, what is your agenda for this Congress?
Well, there are a number of concerns I have about what the Trump administration is doing or trying to do, along with an agenda to try to improve the inclusion of people who experience disabilities in every aspect of our life. So on the one hand, I'm trying to make sure that the Department of Education under Secretary DeVos understands that students with disabilities have rights in public schools and that we need to support students in public schools and help empower them and their teachers to include them fully. And I'm not sure Secretary DeVos has always been aware of that, so part of my job in this Congress is to hold her and the department accountable, or at least try very hard to. I also am very, very concerned about what this administration, along with what the Republican majority in Congress has tried to do in terms of taking health care away from people, and in particular for people who experience disabilities, Medicaid, which, as you know, is so critical to supporting people with disabilities in schools, as well as providing home and community-based supports for them. So that's part of the agenda. And then I'm also trying to make sure that we can move things forward. So I'm partnering with Senator Casey, for instance, on the RISE Act, which would help improve the transition from high school to higher education for people who experience disabilities. And I'm also advocating for better policies on our airlines so that people with disabilities can travel more comfortably on airlines and be included in air travel too.
Okay, great. Thank you. And the last question is, how will the potential cuts to Medicaid will affect people with disabilities?
Sure. So this is a really important issue. In my personal life, in my family, my son Ben lives at home with us, and he needs considerable supports from both home nursing and other providers, physical therapists, for instance, to make sure that he has as good a quality of life as possible. And those are the kinds of services that are really threatened when this Congress, the Republican majority, talk about cuts to Medicaid. First, they tried to cut Medicaid through their Trump Care proposals, trying to repeal the Affordable Care Act and take away Medicaid expansion as well. But they're also now trying to impact Medicaid in this tax plan that they have that we'll be voting on probably this week. Because in that tax plan, the cuts in taxes are so severe, the giveaways to large corporations and the ultra-wealthy are so much that they are going to have to make significant cuts to Medicaid and other critical safety net services in order to make their bill work. And so I'm very concerned that both the attempts to repeal the Affordable Care Act, the tax plan, the removal of something called the individual mandate, the Affordable Care Act, which is now part of the tax plan, will all make it much more likely that we will see very big cuts to Medicaid, and that will impact Medicaid in schools, so the capacity of people who experience disabilities and need health care supports in schools to get those supports. And it will impact community and home-based services, and that concerns me greatly. One, because people need those services to make sure they stay healthy and strong. Sometimes they need those services so they can work, because we know that people who experience disabilities are underrepresented in the workplace. They need supports to get there. And these cuts to Medicaid would impact that as well as just the basic community-based supports that are so important. So I'm very concerned about all of those issues, and we need to continue to fight to protect Medicaid dollars. And the people who came to Capitol Hill this summer to oppose the cuts to Medicaid and the repeal of the Affordable Care Act did a terrific job. It was hard for a lot of people who experienced disabilities to get here, but they did because it mattered to them and because they wanted Congress to understand what a difference Medicaid has made in their lives, and we need to continue to speak up about it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for taking the time to talk with us, Senator Hassan. And thank you for watching, and I hope to see you next week. Bye. Thanks.
Thank you very much,
you.
Liz. I really appreciate it.